5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Have home prices gone to the moon? We're looking at an affordability crisis. The number one topic in the US is not COVID, it's not crime, it's not the supply chain, it is inflation. We know real estate is a great hedge against inflation, but we still need to qualify for purchase of real estate for home buyers. Or in this video, we're also looking at the affordability index as an indicator for possibly a recession, or in which market it is more beneficial to invest. Did I mention recession? I just want to set the stage here for the affordability. Just looking at the US consumer sentiment plunges. This is a little puzzling chart because remember, retail sales are up and consumers are just not feeling it. It is about the same level as it was when we had the COVID panic lows. So I assume we will have to see what happens, but this is a chart that indicated we are near a recession. My name is Lenska. I'm a real estate broker helping buyers and sellers and investors with their real estate transactions. And also, if you'd like to add an ADU or want to learn something about SB9, I do consulting and feasibility. Great way to add some additional income with an ADU. Or also, if you have family members to take care of, to get them closer but not too close. Before we dive in, let's just look at the definition of the Housing Affordable Index, which is an index of a family's ability to afford a mortgage with a median family income. So this changes obviously from year to year as median income falls or rises, and mortgage rates vary, and the median house price certainly increases or decreases like we see it in this chart below. About 2012 in California, the affordability index was above 50%. It's just down now to 25% compared to the US, which set as at about 70%. And fourth quarter of 2021 was at 50%. And when we talk about the affordability index, we assume that people have a down payment of 20%. And this graph shows the affordability in the various counties in the lower part, like Los Angeles is about 19, and Orange County 18, Riverside 33, San Bernardino 43, San Diego sits at 20, San Diego sits at 23. So obviously you get the best bang for your buck in San Bernardino, where affordability is the highest in Southern California. And so you as an buyer should be able to see where you can buy a house, whatever income you're making. For investors, we will dive into a little bit more of what makes a good decision where to buy real estate depending on the affordability. So part of affording a house is the medium. Taking a look at the overall affordability of the various counties in California, you can see that San Diego and Los Angeles are below the average, but there are plenty of counties that have even a 50%. The 50% is the U.S., but if we're looking at Kern County or San Bernardino, or we even have Sacramento. So those rates hang around the, above 30%. And why is Los Angeles less affordable? Because the And why is Los Angeles less affordable? Because the median home price is at $794,000. And if you're looking at last year's January median home price, it was at $660,000. And also, just to let you know, the pattern LA price, median home price goes at in 2017 and 18, it flattened out, and then it was going down when we had the interest rate increase between 2018 and 19. Then it kind of flattens out, and then it all took off in 2020. But then lately, the last 7 or 8 months, it has been leveling off, or recently it has been slightly decreasing. Which affordability will break the bank? It broke the bank in 2006 and 7 at about 10 to 12%, but we had totally different underwriting and qualification guidelines. Will it break the bank maybe where we are right now at about 23%? Here's another way to look at affordability. And if you take the homeownership cost and compare them to the annual earnings, and this data comes from Zillow and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So if you compare that and look at Austin, Texas, where people use 66% of their annual earnings towards home ownership cost, which includes mortgages, obviously, and property taxes and so on. In Miami, we're still at 47%, and remember, a lot of people moved to Tennessee, National Tennessee, which really also increased quite a bit in the last year and a half. But if you're looking at Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh is at 27%. Why am I comparing it to Pittsburgh? Just to show you that Pittsburgh is a pretty boring market, but it is within that 30%. So if mortgage company, a bank looks at your qualification or can you afford the mortgage, they do like to see it at 33% of your annual earnings. And also when we qualify tenants, we like to see that the tenant makes about 2.5 to 3 times what the rental amount is. Looking at San Diego and Austin, Texas, and Miami and Phoenix, but just to note that came down in 2007 and 8, where we practically didn't qualify people, but now we do qualify people, and still it is amazing how high San Diego is at 80% compared to Phoenix, still 43, and that's why we see still a lot of influx into Phoenix and Miami. And I think we've seen reversing the in-migration into Austin. I want to point out another few cities like Riverside and Fresno, and if you look at it where it was 2007 and 8 again, that came crashing down. But when you look at Fayetteville and Cleveland and Huntsville, which kind of have been plugging along, and those might be the safer markets. I know for sure that Huntsville, with the spacecraft and technology and venture capital moving in, and it has one of the higher median household incomes. So those would be safe markets, as home ownership cost to annual earning is still under the 30 or around the 30%. So the basic idea, if you have followed the prior slides, is pretty much a big surge in homeowner cost, mortgage payments and taxes above wages and earnings destabilizes a market and makes a crash more likely. A lower and more stable cost to earnings historically means lower risk of a crash. If you are interested in learning more about out-of-state investing and which towns might be good to buy rental properties or might be good for a better equity increase in 2022, you can join us on Wednesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. You find us on Meetup at San Diego Real Estate Profit Building. Yes, as an investor, you have to really do your due diligence on out-of-state properties, and one of the items we're usually looking at are foreclosures. But how, to get a deal, but how likely is it? Now, this chart will silence those foreclosure bears, because in the third quarter of 2020, we had 1.6 million homes, or 3% of all mortgage properties were in negative equity. So this number decreased by 28.9%, or approximately 470,000 properties in the third quarter of 2021, which makes foreclosures very unlikely because people are able to sell their homes and quickly. Here's another thing that impacts the affordability. Obviously, inflation, if more of your paycheck goes towards rent and food and gas, you're not able to save up for a down payment. And right now, we have almost half of Americans report being on the financial brink, which means it's a little hard to read, but if you look at the all respondents, and that has increased to 50%. But who was able to afford purchasing homes? Investors. Investors purchased a record 64 billion worth of homes. And single-family homes made up nearly 3/4 of investor purchases, and that was an all-time high. And if you look at the Redfin data, it is at of total share, it hit 18.2% In some of the cities, it is about up to 40%. And look at the other group of investors, the Ibuyers. They are increasing in certain areas like that chart below here: Phoenix, Charlotte, Atlanta, Raleigh, San Antonio, Tucson, Dallas, Jacksonville, Las Vegas, and Orlando, Florida. So the moral of the story is that the Sunbelt in the US will be a tough market in 2022. With all the investor purchases, it is no wonder that the HPSI is down year over year, nearly 6%. And the HPSI is kind of an index that kind of gives the consumer perception towards home buying and home selling overall. And it's a monthly index. And the HPSI index was down 2.4% points over to December. So, and it's no surprise because affordability and supply constraints continue to hamper the purchase opportunities. And it was reported that even amongst younger people it was the highest, and they also said that they think prices will still continue to rise, which means people have given up playing in the home buying arena. So if you look at in comparison to January 21, 57% of respondents believe it was a good time to sell. Now it is 69, but it is down from last month's, because too, if you're sitting on a 3% mortgage and you want to sell your house and you have to get back in at 4.5, so a lot of people will stay put. Now 52% believed it was a good time to buy, and that is down to 25% just a year later. Talk about affordability, we're obviously looking at the mortgage payments, the monthly PITI, which is payment, interest, taxes, and insurance versus last year. And if we're comparing it the last quarter to 2020 to 21, and let's take Los Angeles because we know we're very close. So the monthly payment was $2,840 for a median priced home. And the payment in the fourth quarter of 2021 was $3,350, which is an 18% increase. And you see the other counties that are, you know, about between 18 and 20% up. So my question is, did you get a raise 18 to 20% or made 18 or 20% more money? If you answered the question, if you got an 18 or 20% raise and you answered no, you're not the only one, because looking at the Atlanta Fed wage growth tracker, the inflation-adjusted median wage growth ticked up in January, but is still deeply negative. So practically the wages did not keep up. Even more, it surprises me that 10 years later, you need about 3 times the income, while home prices appreciated about 2.5 fold. Meaning in 2012, where the affordability was about 50% in California. Go back to the beginning slides. You needed about $53,780 as an annual income. Now, in the quarter of last year, 2021, you needed about $134,000. So do you think how many people do we still have left that can afford that median home price of $760,000 in San Diego? In closing, we notice that the appetite for first-time home buyers or regular home buyers is diminishing. Investor and iBuyer demand and purchases are increasing with an affordability around 23% in California. So what does it all mean with low affordability and increasing interest rates? Many think the housing market remains strong in 2022, maybe 22, but we certainly will see a leveling off probably in prices. It all hinges on the interest rates. Thinking about buying or selling or investing in our local San Diego real estate market, I invite you to join us the third Saturday of each month, where we showcase an investor's property, may it be an ADU, a rental, a fix and flip, so we can learn from them what the real deal is. And you find us on Meetup at Real Estate Investing Field Trip. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully the graphs and stats were helpful, and it will help you in your investment decisions or in your selling and buying decisions. And my name is Lenska, your realistic realtor. See you on the next one.